You need to feed more frequently, meaning maybe 10 sex? Ooh. Hey, it's Annika here with Sniffdog. Welcome to video number 2 of how to stop your dog from barking in your home. It is such a stressful behavior to deal with. I'm here today to make sure that your dog knows exactly what to do instead of barking. At Sniffdog, we're here to teach you how to speak dog. If you can have a better understanding of your dog, you can have a relationship built off trust and fun. We want to come on this wonderful journey of pet ownership with you to help empower the love and connection between you and your pup. Not only is barking in the home super annoying and agitating, it also makes us very worried about how it's disrupting other people around our home. So I understand the pressure you're under to make sure your dog stops barking. I'm here today to give you 3 tangible tips so your dog is not barking any longer, but instead going to their bed and lying down on cue. Before we get started, I wanted to give a very quick and loving shout out to Pomapoo Chester. Thank you so much for your continued support. You have always been big fans of ours and us right back at you. Make sure to give him some love on Instagram. If you want to be a featured pet on our videos, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and leave some comments. We see you, we hear you, and we love you for the support. As always, don't forget to download the training tip sheet. We made it just for you with all of today's tips in a beautiful PDF file, and enjoy the bloopers. Let's get started. What you're gonna need for today's video is a dog bed and a bunch of treats. Today's 3 training tips are: tip number 1, train your dog to go to their bed on cue. Tip number 2, train your dog to stay. And tip number 3, add distractions that trigger barking to both go to your bed and stay. Barking is a pain in the ass to correct. There's no way around it. It's a natural, instinctive behavior for dogs. So please don't be in a hurry to get results. It's gonna take time and patience here, but with the right approach, I promise you, you will get results eventually. If you haven't watched video 1 of how to stop your dog from barking in your home, make sure to press pause here, go back, watch that, and then come back. If we want our dogs to stop barking, we have to communicate with them what we want them to do instead of barking when they're triggered by exterior noises around your home. And that's where I come in. We're gonna train them to go to their bed and stay today. Which brings us to tip number 1. Train your dog to go to their bed on cue. To train go to your bed, you're going to say the cue, go to your bed, and then point using just your finger or a food lure in your hand to bribe them to going onto their bed. When all 4 feet are on the bed, you're gonna say the word yes, and then toss that treat off the bed as you see me do here with Cedar. Cedar, go to your bed. Yes. If you have a lure in your hand to bribe them to going onto the bed, you want to make sure to get rid of that lure as fast as you can in training. The way that you do that is you do 5 go to your bed with the treat in your fingers, and then on the 6th, 7th, 8th, etc., you're going to make your hand look the exact same, but there's sneakily no treat in there anymore. Your dog is going to go to the bed guessing that you're asking them to do the same thing that you just have done 5 times, and then when they put their feet on the bed, whether there was a treat in that hand or not, you're gonna say the word yes, and again, toss that treat off the bed. Yes. Good boy, well done. The reason we toss food off the bed in this exercise is simply to get them off the bed so we can ask them to get back on it. That is just part of the training exercise. If your dog's just going to their bed when you ask them to in real life, not in a training session, you're gonna say yes and feed them on the bed. Now, go to your bed is really only a useful tool if you don't have to walk them all the way over to the bed yourself and they know how to go to it even if it's across the room. The way that you add distance to this skill is to start where you were last successful. If your dog is currently going to their bed on cue with your hand pointing over the bed from 2 feet away, after maybe 5 to 10 repetitions, why don't you try asking them to go to their bed with you 2.5 feet away from the bed? It's best to take this slowly. You want to incrementally start to be standing farther and farther from the bed in your training sessions while them targeting the bed because they're thinking it's very likely you're asking them to do the same thing they did the last 10 times, although you are now farther away. Notice what I do here when I try to add distance to the go to your bed cue with Cedar. I'm gonna say the cue, then point the way I usually do, but now because I'm farther from the bed, my hand is no longer hovering over the bed. He's very likely to come sit under my hand. Cedar, go to your bed. I'm gonna stand like a statue looking at the bed until his body goes, oh, this bed thing, I was doing this before. Even though the hand's no longer over the bed, you see he goes towards the bed and lies down, guessing that that's what I've asked for. Notice I never repeat the cue. If you keep saying, go to your bed, go to your bed, go to your bed, go to your bed, it doesn't help them figure out what you want. The more you talk, the less they think. So say go to your bed one time and then point. Stand like a statue and look where you want them to go. Okay, so 30 seconds has passed. I can re-cue, but I'm gonna go back to where I was last successful. Cedar, go to your bed. Yes, good boy. Now, going to the bed is one skill when you've asked them to, but staying on the bed is another, which brings us to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to train stay while on the bed. Stay has 3 components. The first component is duration. How long can they hold the stay? We're gonna first work on that. Second, you work on distance. How far can you go from your dog while they remain in the stay on the bed? And the third component of stay is distraction. How much distraction can be present while they remain in a stay? Now, in order to train stay, ask your dog to go to their bed as per tip number 1, and then yes and feed them on the bed when they do it. Tell them to stay with a very clear hand signal and verbal cue. Good. Stay. Yes. Once they've stayed for a few seconds, you can say yes, reach for a treat, and feed them. Notice the treats are hidden in this exercise. It's yes, and then reach for the treat and feed. In order to get treats for this stay exercise, they just have to keep their body in the position that you have asked for, whether that be sit or down. Now, the trick of stay is to feed them totally unpredictably so they never know when that food is gonna happen. They get all the food they want in stay, and when we release them, they get nothing. That's the part that makes them like to stay. If it's a new skill or a difficult skill for your dog because they don't settle very easily, you need to feed a lot of treats per minute to keep them in that stay position. As they master the skill and they understand, oh, stay means I hang out and you hand deliver me food, cool. You can start to taper off the number of treats per minute that they get simply for staying. Now remember, we're doing this as a training exercise. We're not going to be giving these amount of treats for stay for the rest of your dog's lives. They have to learn what stay means, and then over time they get less and less treats per minute, and they start realizing, all right, I get a few treats if I hang out. If I get out of the stay, I get nothing. Now, stay has a few rules I haven't yet told you about. Number 1 is you feed them in the stay and not outside of it. Also, they're not allowed to get out of the stay until you tell them to, which should sound like this. Okay. In the absence of them hearing the word okay, they should not be breaking the stay. If they do break the stay because you didn't feed them fast enough, or you didn't keep them engaged, or they got distracted or bored of the exercise, which will happen to you, just say nope and ask them to go back to their bed, sit or down, whichever one you're doing, and then ask them to stay again. Here's the tricky part. If your dog learns stay, I get out of it, I get back in it, I get a treat right away, they're gonna keep getting out of the stay in order to get back into it, in order to get that treat. So if your dog breaks the stay, which is a no rule breaker, say nope, put them back in the stay, and do not feed for 10 full seconds, as you'll see here with Cedar. Sit. Good. Yes. Stay. Stay. Come here. Go to your bed. Sit. Stay. No treat for 10 seconds. Good boy, but you can praise them because they're working really hard. Good boy. So once your dog has mastered stay with you being quite close to them, you can start to elongate the length of time that they're staying. You can start to add a little bit of distance where you're starting to walk away from them while they're staying. When you start to add distance, you feed them in the stay, and then you move away, and then you go back in and feed again, as you see here with me and Cedar. Now, how does this help with your barking dog? Well, they have to know go to your bed and stay in order for those to be skills that we ask them to do instead of barking at windows and doorways. That only really becomes usable to you if you add those type of distractions, the third D of stay, into the exercise, which brings us to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to add distractions to the go to your bed and stay cue, which will look something like this. You're gonna knock on a wall or a door or a piece of furniture as far away from the doorway or windows as you can. We're not trying to make your dog bark, but we're trying to make your dog hear a noise that is slightly triggering to them. When they hear the noise, ideally it's quiet enough or away from the doors enough that they don't bark, but I want them to perk up and listen to it. When they perk up, right away, cue your go to your bed cue. Cedar, go to your bed. When they go to the bed, yes, and treat. Yes, good boy, well done. Now over time, you can start to add louder and louder knocks on doors and walls and windows to symbolize to them that somebody's intruding in the house. If they do bark, it's okay, send them to their place. That's why this skill is being installed in the first place. If they go to their bed after barking, you want to count to 10 seconds before you yes and feed. Do not feed them for going to their bed right after barking. If you feed too soon, you rewarded bark, bark, go to your bed. Once they're on the bed, you can start to practice stay with other distractions that also would mimic what it sounds like when somebody's intruding in the home. That might look like this. Yes. Stay. Yes. Stay. Hello. Yes. Stay. I'm going to the door now. Stay. So with Cedar here, I've asked him to stay. I'm going around my house, adding varying distances from him and varying distractions. Yes. I'm knocking on walls, I'm knocking on the front door, I'm kneeling down to the ground to add some distraction. Getting low to the ground is very inviting for a dog. I'm crinkling treat bags around him to add distraction to his stay skill. And lastly, and hardest, is maybe even knocking on your door, opening it while they're in a stay, saying hello, and seeing if your dog has a reaction. If they bark and leave the bed, no, send them back on a strike 1 as per video 1's suggestions. As you can see here, teaching go to your bed and stay requires some homework, 5 to 10 minutes a day with treats, so that these skills become usable to you when your dog is currently barking at something. If you don't do your homework, stop Googling things that are gonna stop your dog from barking, because it's not gonna work. You need to put the work in to teach them these skills, to teach them that barking at windows is not what you want, or barking at doorways is not what you want, and instead you want them to go to their bed, lie down, and potentially receive some rewards for doing this opposite behavior that you like more than the barking itself. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I like to think that you have a little more peace in your life and in your home and a little less stress thanks to these tips. If you have any comments or things that you would like us to cover in our next videos, please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the notify button so you find out about the next one, and leave those suggestions in the comments. If you're watching from Facebook, make sure that you like, share, and tell your friends. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We've got a lot of extra tips there for you. And download our training tip sheet. I made it for you. Please download it. It will make sure that you remember all of the little tidbits from today. Enjoy the bloopers. I wanted to give a special shout out to Pama Poo. I'm gonna get it right this time. I wanted to give a special shout out to Pama Poo. Meaning maybe 10 sex. Ooh.